coming today. My name is Vicky Kiernan, and I am obviously from Scotland. And over here for the month, I've been working with Patrick Harris doing Patrick Harris Horsemanship. And I'm going to be showing you some of the things that it is that I've been working with, and the connection that that there has with therapy, the therapy that it is that I do. So I'm a coach over in Scotland, and what I'm here to do is to incorporate the therapy and the horsemanship and bring them together. So I'm going to be demonstrating with a couple of horses. We're going to see how we go and what it is that we do. Mostly just talking about body language, voice commands or tonality, and talking you through some kinesthetics and things like that there. The one that I will start is the one that Patrick and I have been starting since I've been here, and he is a young colt. What age is he?
18 months.
18 months. Okay, so he is. He was untouched before we started. We have been doing a lot of work, so we'll go and see how that is. But he is a lot more connected to the earth and fine-tuned, and a little bit. He's young, so we're just going to be working with him there, and I'll show you some of the things that it is that we've been going through. So a couple of things about this guy here. He is really a beautiful, beautiful little horse, but he's very flighty and gets a little bit nervous. And what's interesting about that is what I've noticed is that in working with him, there's been times where I've also been nervous, and that's been feeding onto him, and it would create the nerves. So it's been a really beautiful process where I've been working with myself and getting onto that confidence and assured, and being able to pass that on to him, which is really beautiful. So we're going to see if he comes out today. Good boy. Huh? You going to come out? Oh. Good boy. He's going to walk straight out.
Not comfortable with me.
Nah, definitely not. This is definitely all new to him, but that's okay. So, let's see. Give him a little get out. You come boy?
I'll move over a bit.
Come on. Oh, yeah. Kirby, if you could do that. That's good boy. There we are. So that was a nice follow out there. So first, what it is that we want to do is we always want to take a mental stock of what it is that's going on, and that's within ourselves as well as the horse as well. So seeing where it is that he's at, and feeling where it is that I'm at, and where's my head at, where's my body at, where's my emotions, and just assessing that. So I think that he's looking really comfortable. He knows exactly where he is. And his head's dropped down quite nice and low, so he's really comfortable. Let's see how he goes past. Not too keen about that there. And that's absolutely fine. But his head is nice and low, so he's really quite restful, he's really calm, and that's really good. So, head's still nice and low. So he's just taking everything in, which is really nice. And when we first started with him, he was very, very flighty, and he would just skitter, he would run, he would scatter, everything was a no-go. But he's really taken this on today, which is good. So the first thing that it is that we want to do is to, it's really just about the body language of where it is that I am in relation to him, and what it is that I want to do. With him, he is so sensitive that if I go too close too quickly, he's just going to bolt off. And if I step back too far, he'll just stop and just look to me to see what it is that we want to do next. I think that this is a really beautiful thing when it comes to people as well. If you've ever had somebody kind of march straight up to you and it's really quite intimidating, it's not a nice feeling for you to be able to go through that there. So, oh boy, that's it. Just walk on. Good boy. So what we want to do is with that is not going too fast and not step back too far, and it's just keeping that nice amount of pressure where he's keeping really relaxed, really calm. He's having to, and he's getting closer, he's tracking a little bit better there. And it's the same thing when we're with people as well, is to really respect their space. And it's also recognizing your own intimidation in that as well. So if you're not comfortable with getting really up and close with people, it's, good boy, just walk on. Walk on. So it's really just recognizing how it is that you're moving in relation to others. And I feel for me that it's really about noticing how much it is that I'm pushing and what pressure it is that I'm putting onto him, but also recognizing how it is that I'm feeling inside when I'm doing it. So if I'm going to be nervous, anxious, fearful, I'm going to be passing that on to him as well, and I'm going to say that this isn't a safe place, this isn't a safe space, when quite the opposite. Everything's in place, everything that it is that we've created here with the yard, all these things have been put into place for his safety, for his security, and also for my own as well. And then obviously you guys as well. So I just want to try and push him out a little bit. What's really nice as well is that before I used to stand in the middle. Good boy. So he went out a little bit further there. There he is trotting past. I just want to be able to slow that down a little bit. Walk on. Walk on. So you even notice as I'm sidestepping there, he's responding immediately to my location very precisely. So one step too far to the left, I'm chasing him on. One step too far to the right, then I'm stopping him. But he is moving out a little bit further, which is nice. And even that there was a little bit too hard for him. So the work that it is that we have already done with him, he has got a halter and everything on him, and he does lead, but he, as you can see, that he's still this, he's still just a young colt, and he does get quite nervous if you go in too quickly with him. So we want to be really respectful of his space, without also giving into him being young and coltish at the same time as well. Good boy. Good boy. So again, his head's down, so he is calm. He's less bothered by you guys here, and more bothered by what's happening up here. But that's okay. Good boy. Trot him on. If he wants to get moving, we can get him moving. So I'm only using body language here, and obviously I have my lunge line here as well. And I'm purposely not using voice commands just yet. And the reason for that there is I really want to get the body language connected onto him so that we're communicating, just using that energy. The thing about the your body language as well is really about the intention that it is that you'll set for the day and what it is that you're doing. So when I'm working with him and when I'm sending him round, I don't want to be forceful in my energy. I don't want to be aggressive, or I don't want to be overly dominant with it. What I want to be is just really a calm, neutral space and place internally so that I can feed that onto him as well. And this again is just reassuring that he is in a safe place. But he's still having a bit of issues about getting past, so. Shut up. So even just that minor hand movement that I did there, he reacted to it immediately. And that's how sensitive these horses are. They're so beautiful to work with and so responsive to what it is that you're doing. You have to be really precise with it. Good boy. So when you're setting up your intentions for the day, it's really what you want to do is assess your horse, see where they're at, what's going on with them, assessing yourself to see where you're at and what it is that's going on within you. And it's funny because I hear quite often, is to leave your stuff, leave your shit outside the yard, to not bring that in. Where I think that there has to be a balance between it. It's not about bringing all your crap in here, but I want you to bring a little bit in here. And the reason for that there is because you get to connect with the horse in real time. So the horse is always going to tell you, they're going to match and mirror what it is that you're thinking, what it is that you're feeling internally. And that's the beauty of what it is that they do, is they'll really respond and mirror what's going on internally. Horses won't lie to you. They're so rooted, they're so connected, and this is what they use for their survival out in the wild. And so they will be able to tell you what it is that's going on internally. And I feel like for me that's a really beautiful process when it comes to the therapy side of it. And it's really about being able to utilize what it is that you're coming in. Having some level of awareness, not coming in here absolutely bawling your eyes out or exhausted or anything like that. You want to have a level of integrity with what it is that you're doing, but definitely bring some of that stuff in, and then you're able to work with the horse and be able to do that. And if you're being so for instance, like if you're feeling frustrated, or if you're feeling maybe a little bit aggravated, agitated, anything like that there, then you're going to feed that onto the horse. So you're going to notice, if I was to come in here like really quite fired up emotions, then my movements are going to be really a lot more harsh and a lot more aggravated, and the horse is going to respond directly to that. And so we want to be able to go, okay, so that's what the horse is telling me. The horse is going, he's moving too fast, I'm being too harsh with my movements, and you're going to be able to notice what it is that's going on internally and be able to come back and rectify that. And not rectify it in the way of that it needs fixing, but be able to really honour what it is that's going on internally so that you can produce a different outcome and change your ways and allow that process to naturally happen. So, even just as an example, if I pick up my pace here just now, he is going to respond to that. And I'm not doing anything, I'm not sending him away, but that there's just the natural course, so he can feel that I've went and picked up my pace. Right? But if we go a lot more slower, he's not bothered about anything that's going on around him now. I do have his attention, his eyes are on me. He's really relaxed, almost so relaxed that he's nearly going to stop there. And now he's looking away, he's disinterested. So that's the extremes of pushing too hard and backing off too much. But I like that he's over there having a look. Okay. So what I am going to do now is I'm going to introduce the voice commands. Walk on. And see, he just noticed that he picked up his pace. Walk in. Walk on. So now I'm having to do less movement as well, even in myself. Walk on. And it's because when we're using our voice commands, we're using the tonality that it is that we're using to almost send the message to them that that's what I want you to do. Walk on. Good boy. And there you are, starting to walk nicely. And I'm moving a lot less as a result of it. Our tonality is really super, it's really powerful. And you'll know yourself as well if, you know, it's not what somebody says, it's the way that they said it that can actually have the impact and the meaning about what it is, that the message that it is that you're receiving. Walk on. Walk on. Walk on. Walk on. Now the response isn't as strong with him on this side. Walk on. Walk on. Trot on. Trot on. Trot on. Trot on. Trot on. Good boy. Trot on. Trot on. What I do love about this month that it is that I've spent here with Patrick Harris is it's been able to do this groundwork and being able to utilise it in different ways. And so for me, I have the racing background. I've spent much more time on top of a horse than I have on the ground with it. And one of the most beautiful things that it is that I've learned is that your lunge line, I've always seen that for chasing the horse and for, you know, giving it a tap in the ass. And that's good, like we all do that. But what I love most is how we've utilised this for the benefit of the horse to be able to get around him. And so I can swing this over his head, I can swing this over his neck, I can run it all down his body, whilst he's in stand, whilst he's moving, and he's absolutely perfect with it. And that there just really, it's a really beautiful way to be able to work with the horse and utilising these tools for the positive and what it is that they're meant for, and not the more aggressive versions that it is that I have witnessed over the course of being in racing. Okay. Walk on. Walk on. Trot on. Trot on. Trot on. The other thing with tonality as well is that it comes back to 38% of communication that it is that we talk. So out of 100% of communication, 55% of that is physiology, which is why we start with the body language first. 38% of that is tonality, so it's the words that we use and the way, not the words that we use, it's the way in which we say our words and what it is that we're saying. And then only 7% comes back to words themselves specifically. So it's the same way that when you're talking to them, it's recognizing when you're saying something, how are they responding to what it is that you're saying. So if you're shouting, if you're being aggressive, if you're, getting up them, it's not feeding the horse in a positive light. Instead, what that's doing is, because it's when we're speaking like that, it's mostly out of fear. Even when it's anger, it's still it's a fear-based emotion. And we're going to pass that on to them. And this is going to manifest in ways of a horse that doesn't trust you, a horse that doesn't respect you, a horse that doesn't want to come to you. And so it's always just being aware of that when you are talking and when you are, how the horse is actually responding. And it's being able to adjust yourself accordingly to that. And the same thing as well is that you'll, when you're speaking with people, you're going to get the same response with that as well. So if you're not feeling great, and then you speak from that not feeling, that feeling of not feeling great, and then you're going to get a response or a reaction to the person that it is that you're talking to. And they might think, like you're being bitchy, or you're being aggressive, or you're being nervous, or and this is the thing as well, like when it comes to confidence, is that if you're quiet and you're low tone and you're inside of yourself and you're not feeling that confidence, you're going to convey that. And so the first thing is for your body posture, for you to be upright, for you to be, standing tall, standing proud, standing confident, and then for you to communicate from that as well. And your tonality will completely change. So if you're like a really quiet person, really shy person, you're going to be a lot lower, a lot calmer, a lot more inward. Then if you are actually a confident person, you're going to convey that, you're going to speak that, and you're going to use the tonality and the power and the energy that it is that comes from that. Is that clear? Yeah, we're good. Do we have any questions so far?
How do you find, what kind of confidence do you take into the yard when working with a horse like this? What do you do?
I'm neutral. I try and be as much neutral. So I want to feel good inside of myself, but not too good that it's overpowering what it is that I'm seeing. And so I really want to come in as a neutral place. I'm not confident, I'm not unconfident. I'm here, I'm present, and I'm relaxed in the situation. I just want to be very neutral. And there's a level of confidence inside of that neutralness, like, 'cause I'm okay being neutral. I don't require to be overly happy or excited to get into the yard, and I'm also not upset about anything. And so it's a very neutral place, so that I can read him for what it is that he is, where he's at, what he's doing. What I will do is, if he is reacting or responding in ways that I'm not trying to convey that, then I will certainly check in with myself first. Where am I at? Is there something that it is that I'm thinking? Is there something that it is that I'm feeling? And adjust accordingly, so that I can get back to a neutral level, so that I can respond to him and what it is that he's saying to me. Is that clear? Yeah? Okay. Walk on. Okay. Walking. So even that trot was half-assed there. It's more likely that it is that he's, walk on. Good boy. Walk on. So I don't know if you caught that there. What had happened is around here, I got too close to him and he started to pick up pace. So in order for me is to back off and relieve that pressure so that I can get him to come back down again. But I think what also is happening is that we're starting to create a bit of a pattern here with him. Oh, sorry, boy. Is coming past here, is that he's just trotting past rather than slowing down and walking. So we spoke about the your body language, presenting yourself, how it is that you will present yourself in a physiological sense. When you're feeling more empowered and confident, you'll stand more upright, back straight, shoulders back, your chin up. Your tonality, the tonality that it is that you're using, and the response that it is that you'll get from that. Moving on from that there, is that then we would have the kinesthetic. And so then it's just getting in there and touching. The fun part of the horses. We get to work with them. Walk on. Okay, walk on. Especially with the younger horses and untouched horses, this is such a vital part of the process for them to be working with us. Walk on. Walk on. Good boy. And so we want to make it as positive experience as we can as possible. And so, walk on. He's too chilled out now. And so with this fella here, he's not going to mind. So this has been such a positive reinforcement for him, for us to be able to get close to him. He's very, like I say at the very start, he's very skitterish. Good boy. But I think that this is a really beautiful piece as well, is the fact that we get to throw things at horses, and there's very little reaction to them. Good boy. Shut up. Shut up. That was completely my fault there. Just standing in the wrong spot. So again, the horse is only going to respond to what it is that you're actually doing with them. And so, shut up. Shut up. And so they're going to call you out every time that it is that you don't do something properly. Shut up. And I feel like I'm multitasking like a champion here at the minute. Come. Good boy. Walk on. So we got down. We're able to stay in a walk that time, which is nice. Walk on. Walk on. There. So even at the moment, I've come back to the mental assessment of just where's the horse at right now. So we're just going straight back to the basics again, just so that I can see where it is that he's at. And he's saying to me at the moment that You know, like he's just very much responding to the fact that we're in a round yard. He's gone round a few times. He's switched on to me. He's looking at me. I've got his full attention, or I did, and he's quite happy for me to be over here. I think he's quite interested as well. His nose is going down. It's coming towards me. So we'll see if we can. Good boy. So just a bit of dancing there. The thing is, as well, is that I could send him back round again, which I don't really want to do right now, because it becomes too much of a pattern and a habit for him. What I do want to do is just change it up a little bit for him. So, and he doesn't care that I've got the flag out. Okay? Good boy. So, I just want his attention. That's it. So we'll see if we can get in there and get a head collar on him, so that we can go through the kinesthetics. And I think this is really beautiful as well, as to recognize about space and boundaries, is when somebody's wanting you to come in, and when to respect their space and their boundary and not go in there. And he doesn't care that I'm... Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. And even just those few steps there, him coming towards me is the acceptance of that. So it's beautiful. So that was me pushing the boundaries there. You can do it again. Yeah. So pushing the boundaries there was him taking a step back and not quite sure where it is that he's wanting to go, but he's wanting to get out. And that's okay, there's no harm done. He's done this plenty of times before. But even doing internal check on myself as well in relation to that there, of what it is that he's given to me, is, you know, there's this, because I know that he's so skitterish, so I have that in my head, that he is skitterish, that he is flexy, or that he is flighty, so then I'm also internalizing that and feeling that at the same time as well. So I'm then projecting out onto him to say that this is the outcome. So by checking in with myself and working with that, then I can come in and go, okay, so it's calm, it's confident. I know that he's done this 1,000 times, and I know that he really does love the pats and the attention. And we'll give it another go. And there you are. And so he stepped back, but it was probably 1 or 2 seconds after I actually gave him the touch. And so that says that the recalibration within me changes the outcome of that there as well. Okay. Do you know what time we started? No?
Probably close to
30 minutes?
Been going for nearly 33 minutes.
Pardon?
Been going for nearly 33 minutes.
Oh, okay, perfect. Hey? Oh, you reckon? Oh, okay. We'll give that a go. I think we'll give this a go. And this is a new flag, so you don't know this one. Okay. So less bothered by that one. And his head's down, so he's nice and relaxed. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So I stepped forward and so did he there, which is quite interesting to watch. So there's rapport going on, and he's interested and he's intrigued. And so then again that tells me with the mental assessment that he's quite happy to be here and he's quite happy to go on with this here. Because I certainly don't want to push him past any bounds of good boy. Good boy. I think if I had been quicker there, he might have actually come out. I think what I will do okay. Good boy. Is he trying to bite you? So what I am doing is we've got the kinesthetic going, so I've got touch on him, and I'm allowing him to move a little bit, but even just from my body language is that I'm also asking him just to stand or to stop. Good boy. Okay. But I wouldn't restrict his movement. I'm not asking him to stay somewhere that it is that he doesn't want to stay.
Oh, this is good.
So he's allowed to move, he's allowed to get out from anything that it is that he's uncomfortable from. But I am going to encourage, good boy. Good boy. You're standing on it. Good boy. Okay.
Yours, go.
Good boy. So the whole time with this as well, what I am doing is just to keep checking in with myself to make sure that it's I'm not getting frustrated, that I'm not getting like there's no nerves or fear. It's just letting him continue on. Oh, I wonder. Good boy. Okay. So there was something that I forgot there. And I'll share it with you in a second. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So got straight onto this side. Oh, he is a pest, isn't he? Is he biting you? Boy. You're going to stand straight next to him again. Right? Good boy. Good boy. Hmm? There. So what I have noticed with this horse, and I'll just give him a second here, is he's much better on his near side than he is on his off side. That's okay.
And
That's fine. So on his off side, he didn't want me to go anywhere near him, but on his near side, he's been all right, and that's much. Why that is, I don't know. It's just something that it is that I've noticed over the past couple of days, and there's a little bit more work to be done in finding out why it is that he's like that, and what it is that's triggering that, and what it is, whether it's just a process thing, a mental processing thing with him, or whether there's actually something else that's going on with them. So as you can see, that even just touching with the kinesthetics with the flag is absolutely fine for me to do that. And I can pretty much get over all of his body with doing this. Hey boy. One of the ways that when we were first working with him to get him caught, we ended up riding one of the other horses so we could get up next to him, and it was Winston that we had rode, so that we could get up next to him and get the lead rope over. But what was really interesting was that when you so sometimes when you're thinking that you know what it is that's going on with the horse, I thought that it was something to do with actually touching his skin and that he wasn't responding to that. But what we found out is that whenever I was on the back of the horse, I was able to touch him all over and he was absolutely fine with that. So what I think we might do just now is just pause it right there and we'll stop for a little bit. We'll give him a bit of a break, and then we'll come back in a little bit. Okay. This is the stress as a result. So when you're doing multiple things at once, it just allows you to be able to slip in there a little bit quicker, a little bit easier, and what it is that you're actually wanting to do.
It seems very much like a dance or a chess match.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to other women wanting to do this?
That is a great question. Come and see you. I think, you know, it's definitely it's learning, it's educating. You want to gain like good foundations in what it is that your horse is communicating, and being able to understand what that is, how they're coming, how it is that they're communicating, what is it that they mean, and spending just the time with them to be able to do that dance, so that you're able to learn what the steps are. With him, so before I came in here, because I've already worked with him and I've been working with him for the past few weeks, I already knew where it is that I need to stand in relation to him to be able to send him on, or to be able to pull him back, to keep that nice and calm. With the others, that would be different, but it's really just about spending the time with the horse and being able to find out what it is that they need and how it is that they respond in relation to you. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different this time. And so before, it was more interaction with me and the horse and the body language and everything like that. This time I want to tell you more about what it is that I actually do inside of a session. And so for effect, I will pull a horse out. And this is a really pretty paint horse. So he's going to be completely different to the other. He is backed and broken in and ridden, and I've had the pleasure of riding him. He's a sweet little thing. What I did want to say was a little bit more about my background into horses and how that came about. I was a tearaway teenager, and I asked to go on for the last 2 years of high school, and the high school went and said, no, we think that's best that you actually leave. And so I thought, okay. They put me into a college course, and it was a Get Ready for Work program, that's what it was called. And all it was for people who didn't have anywhere to go or anything to do, and it's just giving them something to do. And I went there. Throughout that program, I got offered a job in an office, and I thought, sure, I'll give it a go. That's part of the program, that's what we're supposed to do. We'll go and get a job, and followed the rules and whatnot. And I got the job, and I was working in an office, and I was folding letters and putting letters inside of envelopes and sealing them up, and that was pretty much what it is that I did for 3 weeks. On the third week, I was in the bathroom, and I was crying my eyes out because I was so dead inside. I hated the job so much. It was horrific. And there was a lady that came out the toilets, and she was going, oh my God, like, you're horrifically crying, like, what's going on? And I was like, I hate this so much. And she says, look, you can't be in the office. You've got to go out, tell your manager that you've got toothache and that you want to go home. And I said, cool. So I went out, I found my manager, and I said to her the same thing, I've got my toothache and I want to go home. She said, yeah, that's fine, no problem. So I found myself on the bus, driving, going back home, and I get a phone call from my manager, and she says, look, the lady that it was that you were talking to in the toilet is actually the CEO of the company. And I was like, oh shit, I am sacked for sure. There's no question about it. And what actually happened was, she goes, the owner of the company wants to know if you've ever worked with horses, And I said, well, I worked in your office for 3 weeks, I'm willing to give anything a go. And the next week, I was on a livery yard, and that was me starting my journey with horses. What was quite funny is that I went into stables never having been near horses, and I was 16 years old. And I had my nails done, and I had my makeup all perfect, and my hair was all done, and I had good clothes on because I couldn't go through the shopping centre without, you know, being seen as pristine. And I got up onto the stables and realised that I should have brought a second set of clothes. The first time that I ever saw a muck heap, and I had to take the wheelbarrow up onto the muck heap, and I went, you want me to step on that? Like, you want me to step on the dirt to empty this wheelbarrow? I'm like, that is disgusting. And so they all had a bet on the yard that I wouldn't come back for the second day. And every day that I came back, they would replace the bet for the next day, saying that I'd never come back. And 12 months later, I was running the yard. And so that was my journey coming into horses. From there, I went on to do 10 years in horse racing, and I did horse racing in England, Scotland, and 3 states here in Australia, in Victoria, in Northern Territory, and Queensland. And so I've been able to travel from it, you know, and it's always been an exceptional experience. From my last yard that I worked at was in Queensland, and I worked for a really horrible man. And he was narcissistic, and he was a bully, and he manipulated, and he made me feel terrible about myself. And so it was a gift in its own right. I didn't see that as a gift at the time because I had a complete identity crisis. Without horses, I didn't know who I was. But yeah, as time's gone on, I've been able to learn a lot of things, and that's been really helpful. I did go on to do therapy and coaching, so I'm trained in NLP, and timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, along with a lot of other things that it is that I've done over the time. And my goal was to always integrate my horses with the coaching. And so this is now what it is that's coming through as a result of my years of doing what it is that I've done with horses and with the coaching. Hey boy. When I first got into horses, I didn't actually realise how incredible they were. They kind of just worked their magic on me. But when I was, prior to getting into doing the horses and stuff, I had a lot of anxiety, self-doubt. I was probably quite depressed. I didn't realise it at the time, or it wasn't so severe that I knew about it or I had to do anything about it, but I was heavily drinking. And bearing in mind that I did get into horses when I was 16, so it's quite a young age. And what I didn't realise was how therapeutic they are in nature. And when I've done my research and when I've learnt about horses after, it's any wonder. And so when you actually come and spend some time with a horse, they regulate your breathing. They regulate your heart rate. They regulate your nervous system. And so as a result of even just touching a horse, you get to ground yourself through that. And you get to be with that process. And you get to be with them. And you get to connect with yourself in that as well. And I think that that's a really beautiful process. I think when, if we consider how trauma and everything happens, it always starts at a really early age. And then it just progresses. And so what I find when working with my clients is that our focus is on big events that happen, and there will be significant events. They're the things that you remember, but there's always something that happened beforehand that would lead to that big event, and it's something that's normally really small, really minute, and when you connect with that, everything else just falls away. And so kind of lost my train of thought there. When it comes to the trauma and you're in your childhood and you're working with that, it becomes like an illusion of and a manifestations of the things that it is that you experienced when you were younger. And so everything that kind of stacks up on top of that is as a result of something really quite insignificant, now insignificant, it was significant at the time, that you're able to work with. When we're combining coaching and horses together, we're able to go through the mind of what it is that you're thinking, the thought process, the themes, the beliefs, the limitations, things like that there inside of the mind. And then more importantly, I think it comes back to the emotions of what it is that we feel. When we're connecting with the emotions and we're working with that in connection with the horse, we really get to utilize and we get to regulate what it is that's coming through. So we get to experience what it is that we experienced in the past, and we get to experience that now. And it's in re-experiencing that we get to release those that are being trapped inside of our nervous system. And in regulation with the horse, when we get to be with the horse, we get to ground ourselves and we get to root ourselves, there becomes this flow of a balance where you get to re-experience and then neutralize at the same time. So it's actually a really beautiful process that it is that we go through. I think that what happens a lot of the time is that we're told, when we're conditioned when we're younger, is that we have to be strong, we have to be courageous, we have to be brave, we have to stop our emotions from coming up, and we have to block that part of ourselves. And as a result, we end up doing things and being people that we're not necessarily happy or connected with. And it's doing things out of people pleasing, out of, being accepted by others, and some things like that there, where instead, if we got to almost love our weaknesses, or love the part of ourselves that we say that we're not happy with, which is generally just a projection of somebody else. But when we get to connect with that and we get to know ourselves in such a way and we go, that actually isn't a part of me, it's something that somebody told me that was there, not necessarily me. Oh boy, you're doing very good there. And so when we get to work with these aspects of ourselves, with our thoughts, with our emotions, and we get to be with the horse, the beautiful thing about the horse is that it requires us to keep moving, and they require us to keep processing, keep moving forward, keep active, and keeping everything flowing inside of ourselves. If we consider like depression is a state of stuckness, it's a state of stillness, and not very much movement is happening. So even by somebody depressed coming into the yard, all they can do is just walk with a horse, and that there starts everything moving, it starts everything regulating. And it's a really simple, beautiful process in just being with that. What I do is a bit of a hybrid between working with the horses and also working, be it online or face-to-face or through mental processes that it is that we do, and also a lot of tasking or tools that it is that you go home with, where you get to be able to integrate yourself, or get to learn about yourself and who you are and what it is that you're doing and who it is that you're here to be, and how it is that you can move forward from where it is that you are right now. Do we have any questions so far?
So what's that horse's background like with talking about therapy?
Mm-hmm.
What's that? Is he a therapy horse or what's his?
So he's not my therapy horse, but he certainly could be a therapy horse. He's got a really well nature, and he also has his own trauma as well, which I don't know all the details of, but I do believe that he has been hit and beaten with items, sticks, whips, things like that there, in order for him to get moving forward. And it's a really beautiful process, because in the healing of the human, we get to rehabilitate horses as well, and we get to be with them in that process in a really kind manner. I think that something that's associated with horses, and especially women with horses, is that we've got to be strong, and we've got to be powerful, and we've got to be like one of the boys, and we've got to. And I did it for many years in horse racing, where I've got to be the best, and I would do everything that I could possible to ensure that I was better than any boy on our yard. And I think a lot of the time I did a really good job. But what that meant was that it was actually a detriment to myself. So I was betraying myself completely to be able to ensure that I was not being beaten down or made insecure, or made fun of, or judged, or things like that there, where I would be perceived as weak because women are weak, you know, and that's what society says. But in actual fact, it's in the softening of a woman and the softening of the feminine, because I believe this to be absolutely true for men as well. That's where we get to find our greatness. And so working and taking a step back from having to be strong and having to be powerful and having to be very heavily masculine, the horses, and you know, I love the youngsters. It's really beautiful process to go through. But with the older horses, they've received so much trauma. You know, they've moved from house to house, or they've moved from yard to yard, and they've moved from people, and some people are doing one thing, another person's doing another thing. The poor horse can't ever get it right, and we can't communicate that. You know, and so bringing the therapy in for the client is also bringing therapy in for the horse, and allowing them just to be able to get that right in a really beautiful manner. Did that answer your question? Yeah. And I think as well, when it comes to, you don't know what it is that horses have gone through. And so it is a lot of trial and testing and seeing what it is that they react to, and then being able to overcome that reaction. And it's a beautiful way for for clients to come in and to work with these animals who have received trauma also, and for them to be able to help the horse overcome these things. And I think that's a really powerful, beautiful process, because we are, we are here for the betterment and to be able to help and improve, and we just need a way through with that. So I think with him, knowing that he has been hit and whipped and things like that there, I would want to bring these to his attention. I'd want to be able to use these items that it is that he once feared, and be able to rub him all over and get him really and accustomed to it, and really just relax about it. And so I would do stepping stones to be able to get to there. And I think that this is a really fine example for when we as humans, we get triggers, and we get triggered about something. Somebody says something, somebody does something, or you see something, you hear something, and it triggers something, an old memory or something from the past. And then we will shut ourselves down, and we'll say that that's not okay. And because of the suppression through the childhood, and we've been told to be strong, be brave, be courageous, and you know, don't cry, push your emotions to the side, you know, get on with it just now, be strong. And because of that, we're then not able to process when the triggers do happen and when emotions do come up. So I'm very much in favor of triggers, and I go, if you can trigger me, then trigger the shit out of me, because I want to get over whatever it is that is blocking and I'm not able to utilize. It doesn't mean that I go out there looking for triggers, but I'm more than welcoming when they do come up. I really do appreciate them. And it's the same thing as well, as that there's no such thing as negative emotions. There's no such thing as negative emotions. What there is an amount of energy that needs to be processed. So if we turn emotions into energy, then we're able to utilize that much more. And negative energy or negative emotions have equally as much power as positive ones. And so we're able to utilize and transcend that very easily. And it's a really cool process. What do you reckon? Yeah? He's such a sweet horse, isn't he? Trying to think if there's anything else that it is that I want to say. If there's anything else. there no more questions?